Right, you lot, and I'm back. And do you want to know what amazing, creative, original idea I've come up with? A tier list video. Wow, I am honestly unbelievable, aren't I? Right now, I'm going to be doing a couple tier lists this summer, like I usually do. I'm going to be doing this one. I'm also going to do my typical lecture tier list, and I'm also going to be doing a tier list on the crimes of Sam. So that's going to be very exciting. So today I am doing the Clown of the Week's tier list. Now, we have a game in our school where we nominate the most stupid, the most dumb, the most ridiculous moments of the week, and then we all vote at the end and we label the Clown of the Week. Most of the time it's Sam, sometimes it isn't, and yeah, it started as Clown of the Day, but then we quickly realised that was more forced than like an episode of Mrs. Brown's Boys, so we binned that off, and now it's the Clown of the Week. So I've got the tiers, I've only got 5 with this one, so it's quite straightforward. We've got You're the Whole Circus. This is basically like, I just can't fathom it at all. It's absolutely insane and you deserve to be there. What were they thinking? I'm just losing my mind at just the fact they did this. Get the Red Nose, it's kind of middle, it's a clown moment, but it's not quite as absurd as the top 2 tiers. Could sort of justify it where, like, yeah, they're a clown, but you could at least see where they were coming from, sort of, and not win-worthy are the ones where I feel like, was this really that much of a clown moment? They deserve to be the Clown of the Week? We'll find that out. So there's 33 on here, so I don't know how that kind of works with the maths, but yeah, and I apologise if the writing's really small. Some of these are quite in depth, so I'll give you a good overview of what happened. Okay, this first one, we've got Sam and Luke defending Andrew Tate continuously, saying he did nothing wrong. Yeah, so in September, for some reason, they wanted to defend Andrew Tate, and I mean, have you seen what Andrew Tate's been doing at the minute, by the way? Like, his recent tweets are mad. That guy's gone off the rails. But honestly, the problem with this is, like, they did it so often that it wasn't much of a clown moment, more just a considerable, like, thing that happened. It's an opinion, isn't it? And obviously we disagree, but you can't say they were too absurd, so I'm just going to put them in Get the Red Nose. Okay, next we've got Sam kicking a teacher in broad daylight, which, what made this worse was that he later revealed to be in love with this teacher. I'm not joking with that, by the way. This same teacher he later bottled saying goodbye to, but we'll get to that. So I just think that whole thing was just insane. What was he thinking, personally, for me? I just think, like, you just went up and kicked a teacher, and then you had... it's just embarrassing. It's like, oh my god, it's the most tedious shit you ever hear. So, right. Oh, this is the classic here. So, we have Miss Draper. Remember her? I don't. She was doing an art lesson, and she told everyone to put a mask on to not gas them out. The key issue with this quote is that one of the kids in the room was Jewish, and talking about gassing people out is maybe not the most brightest thing to do. I think that's kind of a Get the Red Nose. It's really funny, but to defend Miss Draper, I don't think... like, you don't think that, do you? You know what I mean? You're just saying, get a mask on. She wasn't trying to be, you know what I mean, bad in any way. But it just, it came out so badly. So I do feel bad for her in a sense. But she definitely was worthy of winning, because that's just too good not to win. Okay, now we've got Sam calling the Backyardians Bob the Builder. I'm going to say this was not win-worthy, just because it's a bit like... the problem with Sam is that he just says stuff a lot of the time where he's obviously taking the mick, and I feel like that's an example when he's just saying something that he obviously doesn't believe. Like, he said the earth was flat the other week, and like we obviously know he doesn't believe that, and I feel like this was the case. He obviously didn't think the Guardians looked anything like Bob the Builder. I mean, it's literally like day and night, the two characters, so I don't know how he could make that mistake. Like, I know he's going blind, but they're that distinct that you couldn't do that. So for me, he's got to be taking the piss, so that means it's not really a win, because he's not really a clown, he's more just trying to make people laugh. But then I guess you could call him a clown in the literal sense. Oh, this is a classic. So we got Miss Cheetah. Now what she did was she was trying to make an analogy about changing the subject in maths, basically. So like when you change the subject, you've got to do like the opposite of Bidmas, basically, right? You know what Bidmas is? So you got to do like the bloody subtractions and additions and then the times and then the bracket and all of this, right? And she was trying to use an analogy for this of how you remove parts of the subject by saying, so Cody is in a room. No, this was it. It was like Liam needs to get to his girlfriend. But in his way, Cody is with a number 6 and Mason is with a number 8, and it just turned into... No, she didn't say a number, she said a child, 8, and it was just... I got what she was doing, but, like, she was the whole circus in that moment. It just... Like, for a woman who very often didn't break composure, that was a moment where it just kind of all collapsed for her, I'm going to be honest, so she's got to be there. Right, now we've got Bruh getting a chip out of the bin, snapping it, and then he ate it. Do I need to explain this? He got a chip, right? Scraped like a bloody rat in the bin, pulled it out and snapped it, and then he ate it. It was just like... It's like a cartoon. Is that really real? But I witnessed it, so it did happen. That's unbelievable. I forgot about that win, to be honest, until I put this together. That might be one of the most insane things anyone's ever done this year. Okay, then we got me for picking my nose and eating it, denying it, only to give up. I think I've got to be here. Like, everyone's picked their nose at some point in their life. I feel like if you... Like, you're just lying if you haven't. So, I feel like on the level of crimes and things are on this list, I don't think it's quite up there, but it was a bit embarrassing on my front. Okay, now we've got Ruth talking about tag teaming a satellite in front of teachers. Now, I'm going to say Reese was the whole circus because it's Reese. Like, you just don't expect that. Like, he should know better, as we found. Like, that's what made it better, the fact that it was him of all people to say it. Like, if someone like Sam said that, like Ainsley, like, you probably wouldn't bat an eye because you kind of expect it for them, but to Reese to come out with something like that, especially in front of multiple staff members, it was just insane. I don't know what went over him. I don't know if he was hit with some weird fever. But yeah, clearly that satellite set off things in him, which was very bizarre for a man of Reese's composure and stature. So yeah, that was an interesting moment. Okay, now we've got Sam in general. This week he did multiple crimes, including chucking my pencil case out the window, taking his shirt outside, and spreading misogyny to impressionable young children. This is the same guy that was called a role model last week, by the way. Just draw that in. He won an award for being an inspiration and a role model. I strongly disagree. I'm going to have to put him in the whole circuit. I just think the pencil case thing, what made it worse was it got us all banned. We all were banned in the freezing cold. This wasn't like the summertime when the weather was alright. This was like peak December sort of time when the weather's bloody awful. We were thrown out in the cold for a whole week because Sam thought it would be funny to chuck a pencil case out the window. The thing is with the whole moment is that I didn't really care too much when he was threatening to do it because Sam is famous and notorious for lying and for claiming he's going to do these things and then he never follows through. But this year he went from actually just lying about all the insane things he'd done to now he's actually just committing crimes 24/7, which is why I've got a whole tier list based of it. So it was just insane. So I feel like he's got to be there for me. Okay, now we've got Sam in the middle of a maths lesson going on about sexual things and making autistic fit noises. What was he thinking? This was insane. Like, this was one of back when we had, like, 3 maths lessons on a Friday. Yeah, that's a brilliant idea. We're going to hire a maths teacher who can only do 4 days a week. And because we're so bloody behind in maths, because the previous year we had one that lasted for 6 days and another one that only knew how to sing dividing fractions. And Mr. Adjai, God, don't even get me started on that guy. So they thought, we need to catch everyone up on maths, so let's give them 3 lessons a week. A Friday afternoon, lesson 5, wow. And you can imagine we got quite deranged. But come on, Sam, man. Like, Dylan admitting to saying the N-word in front of Akili. This is the first win for Dylan, and he's got more to come. Here's the thing, right, with this. It's just social awareness. Like, I get you've got autism, right, and I get you probably have social issues as most of us do, but to not have the awareness, to not talk about that sort of thing in front of he was a clown. What was he thinking, in my opinion? Okay, now we've got the famous duo of Helen Weisner and Simon Weisner. You knew they were going to be on here, didn't you? They wouldn't let Ruth go in for Thursday and Friday after he'd recovered from illness, and they had an interesting reason for this. Their reason was because there's no point going in for 2 days. Now, my argument to this, right, is that a lot can happen in 48 hours. Like, a lot can happen, you know what I mean? For example, if they held to this mindset, then why do they send them in every Thursday and Friday? Because there's no point going in for 2 days. Why even go in any days? Because there's no point going in for 5 days. Like, the logic just wasn't there for me, unfortunately. So, I can't justify it, sadly. I think they do need to get the red nose, because, you know what I mean? Like, for example, 2 days of the last ever week, we had, like, the prom and the leave assembly. That all happened in 2 days. You know what I mean? That was 2 days. Or even the previous year, we had all of the crap that happened on that last Thursday of the year, probably the same day ever. That was all in 1 day. There's so much you can miss out. We could have had exams that day. We didn't, but Helen didn't know that, did she? So that is why I think she's a clown there. Okay, now we've got Dylan saying arty farty and being surprised we didn't laugh. I can sort of justify it. I don't really know if it was clown worthy. Also, I think I'm missing another Helen one on here, by the way, because I think I'm missing one. When Helen, like, made Reece stay for sixth form against his will, it was just blatant laziness. Should be the whole circus for that, but I don't think it's on it. Okay, now we've got Ben, when Ben wanted to try and prove something to the teacher, Mr. Townsend, right? And he spent the whole lesson trying to prove it wrong, and he couldn't do it, and he would not admit defeat, even though he couldn't do it. And I just think that was insane. I'll just give it a rest. I feel like he was the whole circus for that, because he could not admit that he was wrong. He could not take accountability and let his guard down, even though he was blatantly wrong. He was in complete denial. He was in that river in Egypt, to tell you. Okay, oh god, this is bad from Dylan. Okay, we've got Dylan, when he wrote in his English work, genuine and actual lesson, he wrote this, right, on why we should get rid of immigration in the UK. Not, like, reduce it and deal with, like, illegal immigration, or not. He wanted to outright remove any sense of immigration from the country. And then he also claimed later on in that day that he was a Labour voter. So not only was he giving extremist messages, it was just extremely ill-informed and extremely illogical. So, honestly though, I can sort of justify it, because he's probably been raised and brainwashed with that ideology put into his mind. So, clearly he's not doing that off of free thought, so I'm blaming the media for that one. Okay, now we've got Sam Bolton saying goodbye to Alana. Now, I'm going to put this in what were they thinking. I'm not putting it in the whole circus, because we never saw this, or at least I never saw it happen. This is just Bruh's account, and Sam's account of the story is very different. However, it's Sam, and he's never told the truth in his life, so I'm not believing Sam's story. But basically, Alana, this teacher that Sam previously kicked, Sam was in love with. And I feel like that's a bit embarrassing, like, to be in love with a teacher that openly, and it was just a bit disgusting, really. But she found out she was leaving, and he didn't say goodbye to her. He bottled it. Apparently, he walked right past her with his head down, listening to Juice WRLD or some shit. Although in his version of the event, Sam does say goodbye to her and gives her a hug, but who we believe in, the man famous for lying, or Bruh moment. I'll let you make up your mind. Who do you believe? Because I'm not going to silence you. I'm not going to make you not believe Sam, but it's Sam. Okay, now we've got Dylan running with the nickname Dildo when he didn't know what it meant. What were you thinking? Like, how could you be 16, not 16, he's 15, and not know, first and foremost, what that word means, Sorry, I'm ill. I not know what that means. And second of all, right? Like, why would you do that? And why would you admit to not knowing what it meant? And like, obviously they're trying to have you. Like, he's just. I don't get his brain. Okay, now we've got Dylan. Okay, I need to explain some context here. So, throughout the years, Dylan always has breakfast and he always has toast every day without fail. And he brings up the toast up the stairs into our classroom. Now, a key issue we found with what Dylan's activities, we didn't have an issue with him eating toast. God, we would have killed Reese if that was our issue. Our issue was that he never brought a plate. So, crumbs would go all over the floor. And he just did not care about this. And he didn't get plates. And then one day, he finally did get a plate. And it broke. He slapped it onto his knee and he broke the plate. And I just think that was the most comical thing. Like, that was honestly a sitcom joke. Like, we were living in, like, The Big Bang Theory. Or, like, Everyone Loves Raymond. Like, we were literally in one of those sitcoms. Like, it didn't feel real in that moment. And I feel like that's why he was the whole circus. Mainly just because he didn't get a plate. And then they binned off the plates and started giving out napkins. And he didn't get the napkins most of the time either. Okay, this is an interesting one. The Kendrick kid for stealing Ainsley's glasses only to instantly drop them when he got up. I can sort of justify this. I'll explain why. My reasoning here, right, is that, so there's this kid, right, who looks like the hip-hop rapper Kendrick Lamar, you know, that guy that was beefing Drake and absolutely destroyed his career, that guy, right, so he looks like him, so that was the running joke, we found him funny. I remember Luke once laughed like an entire assembly, just because he looked like Kendrick, that was a bit bizarre, I'm not sure about that, but this kid, right, he stole Ainsley's glasses right from his face, and then Ainsley's just pure demeanour and build scared the kid, so he instantly dropped them and ran away. Like, you're a small kid, right, and you're up against Ainsley. Like, he's quite a threatening character, you know what I mean? I'd be scared of Ainsley if I was as small as the Kendrick kid, so I kind of feel bad for him. But also, what are you doing, mate? So, he's not quite not win-worthy, but he's close. What does that say? This writing is so bad to... Oh yeah, Sam asked Lauren to give him a lap dance in a friendly way. Now, Lauren's a girl younger than him, and a year below, in fact, so... It's very noncy, that. I feel like they call me the paedophile, but he's constantly shown more noncy demeanour than me over the years, so... That's what I'm going to say. But I'm going to say, just get the red nose. It's far from the worst Sam's done. Okay, this is going straight in You're the Whole Circus. So, to tell the story, Sam said, Sam messaged someone that was quite close to Ryan and just decided to go slag them off for no reason and go at them for no motive other than just to be an asshole. He went way too far. He wouldn't stop. He got called out. He wouldn't stop. And we said to Sam, you should go stand and apologise. You should actually take accountability. And he refused to apologise. He stood up there saying, what did I do wrong? So Ryan punched Sam. It's like the best ever thing that happens since Will Smith slapped Chris Rock. Like, it was that much of a moment. Sam was bleeding his jaw. He was crying. We said he wasn't crying. He was, mate. And then the apology he gave after Sam was the most half-assed thing you ever hear. Sorry. Like, honestly, he had all the enthusiasm of, like, a dead corpse. That's doing disservice to dead corpses, you know what I mean? I think the Queen's corpse has more personality than that apology ever had. So, the whole thing, it's just the fact that he could have resolved it if he just said sorry when he was obviously in the wrong. Like, he meant it. Like, you could argue Bro was a clown as well because you shouldn't punch someone in a school in broad daylight, but I think Sam deserved it and he needed a reality check, personally, so... Okay, now we've got Dylan for bragging about a 3-day relationship, getting it. Dylan apparently dated Lauren for 3 days. 3 days. Let me say that again. 3 days. Like, I thought Liz Truss lasting as Prime Minister for like 42 days was bad, but 3 days? And to brag about that and the way he was talking, it was just, oh God. I wanted to punch the guy. Okay, the next one, Sam claimed that R. Kelly did nothing wrong because he was good looking, right? This is also going in here. This might be the dumbest thing someone's ever said to me in their life. Sam saying R. Kelly did nothing wrong because he was good looking. God, if that doesn't show privilege and Hollywood celebrities, like bloody saviour. It's like Prince Andrew with the bloody protection, being a royalty. Oh, protect him because he's a celebrity, and he's just the worst defence I've ever heard. And I don't even care if Sam's serious. The fact that those words actually left his mouth is just an embarrassment to everything he should stand for. Okay, now we've got Dylan calling a fox a badger. He had an argument with me about a fox being a badger. They're two distinct animals, you know what I mean? I don't know how you... Like, a hare and a rabbit, I get it, because they're, like, pretty much the same thing, aren't they? Like, if you call a rabbit a hare, I'm not calling you a clown, but if you're calling a badger a fox, no, a fox a badger it was, you're insane. He argued with me for 2 minutes, and then when Ryan comes over and tells him that it's clearly a fox, Dylan instantly disregards his whole argument and just admits defeat and changes his opinion like that, just because his idol Ryan said that. It's just, not only was he a clown for thinking and making the mistake and confusing the two animals, but to immediately disregard your opinion just because your mate that you're desperate, not even mate, a guy you're desperate to be friends with said it, just to impress it. It just reeks of embarrassment. So I feel like it... Okay, now we've got Dylan again saying that the Apple phone was named after the apple fruit. No, the apple fruit was named after the Apple phone, that was it, yeah. You thought the phone came before the fruit that's been around for generations. What were you thinking? Now, I'm not going to put him in the whole circus, because I'm more than happily convinced that he wasn't joking then. Sam getting demoted is it's the number one clown moment of the year. So Sam, we're all sat in science, and then Mr. Bolt, one of the PE teachers of the school, bursts into the room and admits to Sam that Lily May is going to be captain for the new game and that he's been demoted to vice captain. He says this in front of everyone. We laughed at Sam for a whole day. We even created a rival football team, and then we later beat Sam's team after he claimed he had the world's best team, and then he lost. It was just, the whole thing was a clown moment from Sam. Okay, now we've got Dylan getting angry at Reese because Luke stole his hat. Oh, this is a classic. So Dylan decided to wear dark clothes and this bright blue hat one day, and we all took the mick and the piss out of this because the attire was insane. So we kept trying to steal the hat, which was a bit stupid. It's a bit juvenile, wasn't it, really? But we kept stealing it. Bro, like, tripped him up and stole the hat. And it was like a thing. So Dylan had enough of us trying to get on hold of his hat. And Dylan gave the hat to his trusty bestie for the rest, Nikili. And Nikili is a man who, he lives by a code in his life. He'd never betray his friend so easily. So Dylan trusted him and put it in Nikili's bag. Now, we wanted to find out where the hat was, so we did some intense interviews, and we got it out of Dylan that Nikili knew where the hat was. So Luke goes to find Nikili, and it was such a challenging task to get the hat, it wasn't. Nikili folded in like 3 seconds. The clues were less subtle than like a fucking Dora episode, like a pantomime. It's behind you, like... That's pretty much what Nikili did in that moment. And then he comes in wearing the hat, and Dylan, I feel like he was having a laugh with it, but when he came in wearing the hat, he actually got annoyed and he was angry about this. And he started going at us and gave this whole speech. But who does he decide to target first? Not Luke, the guy who went to steal the hat, or me and Ryan, the guys who were persistently laughing at him about the hat and trying to see it throughout the day, he went for the neutral party in Reese. Reese, the guy, just sat there and he said, "Reese, you should have known better." You're the whole circus, Dylan. I'm sorry, mate. Okay, now Sam's saying he brushes his teeth twice a week. I'm putting this in not win-worthy because he's obviously lying. Like, he's obviously lying. It's Sam here lying. So, nominating Sam for lying is just a bit lame, to be honest. He shouldn't have won. Okay, we got Kadeem ambushing me in the toilet. I'm going to have to say, get the red nose there. So, before an exam, I think, what is a brilliant idea? Let's go to the toilet last minute, should we? And then Kadeem, this cool street guy, you know, probably a drug dealer. He was definitely high coming into one lesson once. He ambushes me with his mates, thinking it's someone else, I think, and then they all folded immediately when they saw it was me, which I think made it more embarrassing. But to be honest, like, if you're in Kadeem's position, you're gonna ambush someone. So, like, I saw their point of view, but they were clowns, mainly because of the fact they folded so quickly that I can't say they were that much higher. Okay, now we got Bro losing to Dylan in chess. I'm going to say I can sort of justify it because Bro's beaten Dylan about 1 million times. And to lose one in like 100,000 or whatever it feels like. For at least 100 games they must have played. That's an exaggeration. About 30, I reckon. And they had one draw, one loss, and Bro won 28. So it was a funny moment, and it was crazy that he lost, and it was so good ridicule, but I argue him losing 3 moves to Joshy in the next week was worse, and that didn't even win. Did it? I think it did win, actually. No, it didn't. Sorry. Okay, now we've got Tommy playing the world's longest chess game, only to forfeit. So basically, this all started in tutor when Tommy, he's not Pastor, he's a TA. He comes in and he moves a piece on the chessboard. And then Reese moves the piece back and it becomes this game. And throughout the day, they kept going back and forth moving pieces. And then Reese took his queen, got him in check, and Tommy couldn't deal with it anymore. So he forfeited. And the funny thing was that we were strategizing and spent the whole day pretty much planning out these moves and on how to beat this guy. And Tommy just forfeited after all of that. So I feel like he's got to be, like, what were you thinking, mate? And then we have the final 2 ever. It was a tie. Whenever it's a tie, I just let both win, because they're both clowned for different reasons. So we got Nikini saying that only Lily could have a boyfriend. Now, let me tell the tale, right? So we're talking about prom, and Kev asked us all if anyone's bringing any girls. Radio silence occurs. And then he asked us if anyone's bringing any boys. And we're all laughing, pointing at Reese. Bro, like, puts his arm in the air, right? And Nikini is gobsmacked at this. He's absolutely appalled. He's lost his marbles. Like, he's so perplexed at the mere idea that 2 people of the same sex could love each other. Like, this is an alien concept for Nikini. He's losing his marbles. Honestly, I've never seen a guy look like so much of a fish out of water like that. Like, he was losing it in that moment. He absolutely lost his mind. And then he goes over to Lily and he says, "Oh, only Lily could do this." And it's just, the whole thing was absurd. Like, he kept reiterating his point and it just got worse and worse. We all called him out. It was just blatantly, like, homophobia. But then I don't even think he was trying to be homophobic, really. I think he was just more perplexed at the idea. Like, he's obviously been raised in very much a background that would disagree with that sort of thing. You know what I mean? And clearly he's sort of been brought up with the idea that you can't have that. But surely you should be aware of it. Surely you should be aware that is a thing that happens, you know what I mean? So I feel like he's got to be the whole circus, and probably outside of Sam's demotion, the most insane clown win for me. And finally we got Miss Humphries cancelling the McDonald's trip last minute. This woman deserves to be in the whole circus tier. For this, She promised us a trip to Hengo Park and a walk to McDonald's. She then got moved out of our class for another reason, but that's a story for another day. And then she did not communicate to any other members of staff in the tutor that this trip was going to happen. She said there would need to be paperwork that would be done for the trip. You don't need paperwork for something less than 3 miles away. So again, she was wrong there. So she blatantly lied to us twice. And she also said she worked with Miss Smith on it, but because they both weren't in, they didn't do it. Miss Smith didn't know anything about this, so then she lied 3 times. More lies than Sam, somehow. So, for me, she's got to be the whole circus. Mainly because of the fact, and it's the worst disappointing promise since the Spanish woman, Miss Morris, never brought us any ice cream. That was truly the worst moment for me. Although Miss Smith did redeem herself and got us McDonald's on Friday, which is why I think the Keeley was worse, but the Miss Humphries herself didn't redeem herself. So that was the issue. So that was your tier list. For me, the worst moment in the year is Sam getting demoted, followed by Keeley, and I think that whole Dylan Fox Badger thing was insane as well. And of course, the Reese tag team and the Satellite. And I think the weakest clown win, it got to be the Bob the Builder Backyardians thing. But, you know, I counted up the amount of clown wins everyone had, and Sam had the most with 10, followed by Dylan with 9, and then everyone else either had 1 or 2. So it's clear to know who the biggest clowns in the school are. So, right, I'll be alternating. I'll be doing 2 lyric breakdowns back to back. Then be doing one of these tier lists. 2 lyric breakdown tier list. And that's what I'll be doing for the next few weeks. So, yeah, I'll see you lot soon. Bye.